When people talk about 400 years ago, it's the most annoying thing. It's like acting like they actually crashed. He was like saying how like Columbus like was thought he was in Japan. He's like, and he hit the Bahamas, and it's like, dude, of course you hit the fucking Bahamas, man. What would you have done? I hate when people get all high and mighty about that shit. And to think about like, you come here, you don't even know this landmass exists, and now you see different people for the first time, and it's like, and they just treat it. And it's like, dude, you're in like a fucking video game.
Yeah.
They got like sharp sticks, and you're like, yo, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. And they start getting loud, and you're like, all right, I'm busting out musket, dude. I don't even know you guys. I hate that when they're just like, and then they do this fantasy of gold, and they ruin these people, and it's like, that stance on history.
You know what else is weird about that is Columbus wrote in his journal that these people would make fine slaves when he landed.
Mm-hmm.
That was just in his journal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his personal thoughts, bro.
I mean, of course he ended up cutting people's ears off and shit and genociding, but, you know.
That was his first impression. Like, these would be good slaves.
These would be pretty good slaves. He just kept it. He was like, just kept it to himself.
That's his own personal thought.
That's 1492, dude.
I mean, if you check my journal, dude, there's a couple I've seen people before. I'm like, you know what?
That's a fine slave, dude. That would be a great slave. I don't want to get too racist. Never mind. I'm not going to name good slaves.
So if you want to read the exact quote, you can pause the video right here. And let's keep going.
Yeah, but it's like,
who do you think the best slave possibly would be?
I'm saying, man, you go over there and you discover Native Americans for the first time, and they're fucking running all fast, bare feet. You're like, damn, bro.
Yeah, that's a good slave, dude.
Give that motherfucker a wheelbarrow, bro.
Yeah.
That guy would fly.
Tie some stones to his back, let him run around.
Give that guy, like, you see guys with fucking, they had tomahawks.
Yeah.
They're fucking chopping down trees for arrows. You're like, put him on a fucking apple orchard. This motherfucker would be picking. He'd be
That's Cortez, by the way.
I just hate when people put a modern mentality on the 1600s. It's like, dude, you have no fucking idea.
Yeah, of course. It's like in Apocalypto when there's the eclipse.
Great movie.
Do you see Apocalypto?
No, I want to see that.
He's an Aztec.
I almost lied and
or
said
a Mayan.
yes.
Yeah,
I always do that.
I always do that
yes.
shit. And it's like, you know the part where that happens? And it's like, yeah. I love that part. And I'm always such a psycho that in my mind I'm like, maybe they're just making that up to try to trap me. I'm that much of a fucking psycho. But in Apocalypto, they're doing the Aztec thing where they're ripping people's fucking hearts out and cutting their heads off the top of pyramids, which they did.
You've seen this movie, you know,
at an
this
astounding
is
rate.
Yeah.
Like lines would be miles long. This is a bad rain dance.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a real bad rain dance. And the worst fucking rain dance possible.
Exactly. Explicitly trying to
But then there's just a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse while he's about to get his heart ripped out, and they're all just like, whoa. The sun god has had its fill of blood. Let this guy go. Fuck yeah. But it's just, you know.
That's awesome, man.
It's funny that just a freak occurrence happened and he was...
Well, dude,
that's
crazy. Well, it's funny that everyone thinks like quote unquote white people were just like a race of like just pure conquistadors who came over here and like, shoo, you fucking beast. And it was just this guy being like looking through one eye and like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, it was like in The Revenant. It was like Tom Hardy in The Revenant. It was like this balding, like flea infested dipshit fighting a shirtless fucking Indian.
I mean, dude, it's really like, did you ever, when you were little, trap like two bugs under a glass and watch them fight?
Yeah,
pretty much what it's like, dude. You're like a spider and a bee, and you're just like, there you go.
The British captured two retards, put them in a jar. I was like, whoever wins, we're gonna take over.
Yesterday was Columbus Day.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Columbus.
Dude, Columbus fucking rocks.
I don't know what. I lived in Spain for a little, and people over there,
Spain,
love him, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And they were just getting wind of like him being a bad guy.
Yeah.
And they were just like, bro.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible what he like. They were all
let me ask you a question.
Yeah, what happened was pretty bad, but he took a wooden ship across the ocean.
Yeah. Why? And he named them after girls.
And then he showed up and just was like, all right, you guys are doing what I say.
Yeah. Yeah. I have on a metal helmet.
Yeah, it's over.
That's what it is, dude.
Metal helmet.
I'm coming in with my fucking hat on sideways, and that's what it is. And you guys are going to listen. You're, like, it's 1492. Why are you still making underwear out of leaves?
Yeah, he's like, you guys ever seen a fucking horse? That's what I thought. You're going to do what we say.
Yeah.
When the Spanish came over, brought the horses, and then the horses would start to escape and get out, and certain tribes didn't know what to do. Like the Apache were just eating the horses.
Really?
They
weren't
actually
sure how
thought it was good for their immune
These things
system.
are good.
I looked into
We're gonna keep munching
it. They
these.
actually did eat them all, which is crazy. But they did it. Apparently, they thought that they wouldn't get sick.
And then the Comanches started riding them and got like incredible at it. And then
So for like centuries, they were the lowest on the pecking order, and they would get fucked up by
Comanches.
everybody. Yeah, the Comanches would get rocked by everybody, and then they got horses, and just they got revenge.
Comanches
Dude.
were
They
wild,
Columbined
man.
out.
Right.
All the
They
people that were
big
picking on
dogs.
them
Got
paid for it.
They got
Big
it.
time.
They got it hard.
So the settlers and Americans and Spanish, all of them would team up with local like tribes that hated other tribes.
Okay.
So there was always tribes like scouts and shit like that with. It's the same way. I'm jumping around here, but the Spanish conquered like the Aztec Empire and the Incan Empire with like 100 dudes.
Yeah, Montezuma and all that.
Like literally like 100 conquistadors
That's
conquered
Yeah.
the whole empire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they just
the
used
other
tribes that
set
were
them up
tired
against
of
each other.
Right.
getting their fucking heads cut off.
So you're
for the
saying
sun.
100 conquistadors plus thousands
Yeah.
of. Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
About that, what I thought was interesting is the Spanish, the way they colonized like Texas and Mexico and all that, was very government oriented. Like if you were a settler there, you would be living near a fort. Like you would
That's right.
you would be as close to the government as possible. But then when the Americans settled like Texas, they were just sending fucking religious nuts
Right.
out into the woods and be like, all right, you guys build whatever you want. Shit.
So you're saying the Spanish settlers would come and they always had the assistance of the Spanish government and soldiers.
Yes, this is crazy actually. Like the Spanish government wanted all the Americas to be Christian, basically.
So Spanish settlers weren't getting killed at the rate
They were
U.S.
more
settlers
focused
were
No, they
on
weren't. They were
making them
more. The
Christians.
Spanish were also more into like missionary shit. They were
Exactly.
sending out like priests and shit. The priests would get fucked up.
getting. They would get fucking destroyed.
Every once in a while, they'd run into a non-believer.
Like, I'm gonna pause
Yeah,
it real quick.
Take it out.
When Columbus came back to Spain and Queen Isabella found out what he did to the native people, they actually put him in chains, and he was in trouble, big trouble, because the whole goal was to make them Christians, and the natives were looking at it and they were like, "Why would we ever want to go to heaven if that's where you guys are going?"
Yeah, it was just
Like, pretty bad.
dude. Yeah.
But then they would get revenge.
They would, yeah.
The Spanish would be like,
So the Spanish killed a lot of Native
Spanish
Americans.
were doing some bad
Because
stuff.
we had did the Native Americans didn't have guns at this point yet, right?
At that point, yeah, they did.
They did. So it was
By the time the Texans were there,
No.
yeah,
yes. When it was the Spanish, no,
no guns.
they didn't have guns or horses.
Right.
So they were just
They would get lit
they were
up.
shit out of luck, dude.
Yeah, so like
They were in trouble.
when the Spanish came, the Comanches were just short Mexicans.
it's a
like
mismatch.
they
Hanging
had
out.
nothing to do. They had
Yeah.
icy carts, and they were just going to get shit
Yeah,
on.
and that was one thing that was interesting about the book. And the book is the Empire of the Summer Moon.
Right,
Pretty sick.
pretty
But,
sick. Sick
The way he talked about it was like they came over. A lot of these tribes came over on like the land bridge,
Okay.
between Russia and
the Siberian land bridge.
yeah. So they
Bering
just
Strait.
for some reason they developed agriculture like 1,000 years after us.
Right.
Us again.
yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. actually.
Us. The best.
Yes.
But so they were just like 1,000 years behind.
Right.
Just time wise, that's just how they developed. So they were kind of like in the Stone Age when they ran into European settlers. So they were like living in like mud
Right.
and like using rocks and shit.
That's just the
Yeah.
truth.
And then they got horses and they immediately jumped.
So they were both
So you could
technologically
see in an
behind.
1800s, mid 1800s
I'm gonna pause it
European
real quick. They were technologically far behind the Europeans, and they weren't adapted to the diseases. So it wasn't like the Europeans killed like a lot of them. I mean, they did, but the majority, like 90%, came actually from smallpox, like the diseases that they weren't prepared for.
settler's brain to look at these people and just think like they're like
that would-
lesser.
Yeah, and then I mean this is like 17.
Oh, the 1700s.
Well, it's still 1860s. This
Right.
shit was still going because the Comanches were like some of the last tribes to get taken down because they were
Comanche were going
just
crazy. They
wild.
kept fighting.
So awesome.
They ruled.
yeah.
They fucking ruled. But yeah, that's how they would look at them. They'd be like these people. They don't have pants.
Right.
What are we doing? Get out of here.
Yeah.
You guys are just living on top of gold.
Right. So we
We're
need
gonna
the
need
gold.
that gold.
Yeah.
And then they'd get there and be like, "Oh, we're in Kansas. There's no gold."
Yeah.
Anyway, get out of here.
Yeah.
Dude, the Spanish spent like 50
The
years
Spanish
looking
went
for
far, man.
cities of gold.
In Kansas.
And they'd end up in like Kansas and Utah, like just
Fucking
Florida.
They
idiots.
kept looking for it. They'd be
Yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts. It wasn't just. It's important for
It's
everybody.
actually
listening.
crazy. Like the Spanish went. There are reports that they were in like Northwest Territoria, like Canada,
Just to know,
looking for gold.
I'm a big fan of the Comanches.
You like the Comanches.
I like what they were up
But
to.
then do you want to call it Indigenous People Day or Columbus Day?
Well, Look, man.
Do you want to just call it?
Very complicated.
How about with this? Just to do it. Why don't we call it Comanche Columbus Day?
That would rule.
That's it. That's what we're going to change it to. We're going to get specific. We're going to call it Comanche Columbus Day. I like Indigenous Peoples Day presented by Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah. It is good.
That's what it is.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like, because then it's like everybody's happy. It's like, this is what it is. It's Indigenous Peoples presented by Christopher Columbus Day.
You should have worn a mask day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too bad they didn't have those N95s back then, you know?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Then you would have fucking not got smallpox like an idiot.
So this is where the podcast ends, but I wanna give you guys some extra information. I've seen in the comments that like the extra information you'd like to have it at the end. So let me just some things that I thought were interesting, just some dates. So basically, Mexico gained their independence in 1821, and there were two important people, names to remember: Francisco Pancho Villa, Pancho was his nickname, and Emiliano Zapata. Then another big community was Gran Colombia, which is modern day Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, and Ecuador. They were all together one big country. They gained their independence in 1819, and their big hero was Simón Bolívar. You may have heard his name before. He's quite famous in Latin America. He was a soldier from Venezuela. He played a big part in the whole Southern American independence movement, and he was considered a hero. After Simón Bolívar became president of Gran Colombia from 1819 until 1830, while simultaneously for a couple of years he was a dictator of Peru from 1823 until 1826, so that's kind of crazy. And then the country of Bolivia is also named after him, Simón Bolívar. Argentina became independent in 1816, and basically by 1836 all of Latin America had gained their independence except for Puerto Rico and Cuba. And then there's one big exception, Belize, or Belize, I'm not sure how you say it exactly. They did not gain independence until 1981, so that's 40 years. And they gained their independence from the UK, so I didn't even know that they were ruled by the UK. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Check out, I've got all the links and descriptions for Matt and Shane, their podcast, their shows. Check them out, show them love, because all of these videos, I mean, I love making them. I hope you guys love watching them too. And it definitely gives me motivation to keep going. So let me know what you guys think of the new format. And if you guys have any suggestions or anything you would like to see, let it know in the comments. I'll read all of them. And yeah, that's it for today. See ya.